Welcome to Starlight Sci-Fi, where we explore the uncharted realms of the galaxy, unravel mysteries, and dive into stories that challenge the boundaries of imagination. Get ready for another thrilling journey through the stars. When the Galactic Council sent their finest ambassadors to establish contact with humanity, they expected open arms, eager diplomacy, and yet another species joining the peaceful galactic order. Instead, humanity's response or lack thereof sent shockwaves through the galaxy. What could they possibly want? Why did they refuse every offer? And most importantly, why were they watching and waiting? For over 10,000 years, the Galactic Council had operated with unwavering efficiency, bringing harmony to a galaxy filled with diversity. Every intelligent species that achieved faster than light travel was welcomed into the fold with open arms. It was a well-practiced ritual. Emissaries were sent to establish contact, followed by cultural exchanges and integration into the vast galactic network. No species had ever refused the Council's invitation. When humanity first emerged on the galactic stage, there was a palpable sense of excitement within the Council. Humans had shown remarkable ingenuity, transforming their chaotic, resource-scarce planet into a thriving civilization. Their rapid technological advancement and relentless curiosity were viewed as signs of a promising new addition to the galactic order. The Council's emissary drones were dispatched without delay. These elegant, glowing constructs carried messages of peace, unity, and cooperation. They reached the edges of human space and began broadcasting in hundreds of languages, offering an invitation that had never before been declined. But humanity did something unprecedented. They ignored it. The first message went unanswered. The Council assumed the humans hadn't deciphered it. A second, more straightforward message was sent, accompanied by mathematical patterns, a universal language. Still, there was no response. Confusion gave way to concern. Surely the humans were capable of understanding. They had demonstrated advanced engineering, communication systems, and interstellar navigation. The emissaries sent a third message, this time including visual and auditory formats tailored to the human's physiology. Once again, silence. 2 years passed, and the Council grew restless. Dozens of attempts to communicate with humanity had failed. The humans weren't hostile. They made no move to attack the emissaries or respond aggressively. Yet they also made no attempt to engage. Human activity continued as if the Council's messages didn't exist. Colonies appeared on barren worlds, asteroid mining operations expanded, and fleets of ships moved with precision across uncharted space. To the Council, it seemed as though humanity had simply dismissed them as irrelevant. Whispers began spreading among the Council's representatives. Some speculated that humanity might be too insular, distrustful of outsiders. Others feared it was arrogance, a belief that they didn't need the Council. A few began to question whether the humans were hiding something, their silence masking an agenda. The lack of response became an enigma, one that gripped the entire galactic community. For the first time in millennia, the Council found itself uncertain, its well-rehearsed process of integration shattered by a single species. Humanity's silence wasn't just unsettling, it was deliberate, and it marked the beginning of a mystery that would shake the galaxy to its core. As the Galactic Council's unanswered invitations piled up, humanity remained an enigma. Despite their silence, it was clear they were anything but idle. The humans weren't hiding in fear or retreating to the safety of their home system. On the contrary, they were venturing deeper into the galaxy with remarkable efficiency, leaving a trail of both awe and concern in their wake. Unmanned probes streamed into unexplored sectors, charting star systems with precision unmatched by the Council's own technology. Their surveys were methodical, targeting mineral-rich asteroids, uninhabited planets, and even black holes for detailed study. Within years, humanity's presence had expanded across dozens of systems, but not in the way the Council had anticipated. Unlike other species, humans didn't settle in lush, life-sustaining environments. They ignored the fertile worlds that most civilizations would consider prime targets for colonization. Instead, they focused on barren, inhospitable planets, transforming them into industrial hubs and research stations. In places where no life could naturally thrive, human ingenuity flourished. Massive orbital shipyards appeared around gas giants, their construction progressing at a pace that defied explanation. Mining operations on asteroids extracted materials faster than any known technology should allow. Fleets of modular ships, bristling with sensors and equipment, moved in unison, each appearing to serve a specific purpose in some larger, unseen plan. The Council's observers noted another peculiarity. Humans seemed to avoid interactions not just with the Council, but also with the broader galactic community. Their vessels stayed clear of trade routes, their colonies were shrouded in secrecy, and their communications were heavily encrypted. It was as if humanity had built a wall between themselves and the rest of the galaxy. The lack of aggression only deepened the mystery. Humans had access to formidable weapons, but they weren't using them. They didn't annex territories or threaten neighboring species. They simply observed, expanding their reach quietly and purposefully. This lack of hostility confused the Council even more. If humanity wasn't preparing for war, what were they doing? Adding to the Council's unease was the technology humans were deploying. The materials and energy signatures detected in their operations hinted at advancements beyond what the Council believed possible for such a young species. Their ships operated with unparalleled efficiency. Their terraforming processes seemed to defy natural laws, and their ability to adapt to extreme environments was unmatched. The silence grew heavier with every passing year. Humanity was clearly advancing at an alarming rate, but they gave no indication of their motives or intentions. This deliberate, methodical progress was unlike anything the Council had ever encountered. In the absence of answers, speculation took root. Were humans isolating themselves out of fear, or were they preparing for something far greater than the Council could imagine? Whatever the reason, one thing was clear: humanity was not following the script. The Galactic Council chamber, a monumental structure orbiting a dying white dwarf, had stood as a beacon of order and unity for millennia. Here the representatives of 1,000 species debated, resolved disputes, and celebrated the collective progress of the galaxy. It was a place of calm, rational deliberation until humanity's silence disrupted the equilibrium. The initial confusion over humanity's refusal to engage gradually transformed into unease. Unease gave way to alarm as reports from reconnaissance teams began trickling in. Humanity wasn't just ignoring the Council, they were thriving on their own terms, and their rapid advancements were becoming impossible to ignore. Representatives of countless species filled the chamber, their voices rising into a cacophony of arguments. Some, like the aquatic Xynathians, urged patience. They suggested that humanity was a young, insular species, simply taking time to find its place in the galaxy. Others, such as the militaristic Tyrathians, saw humanity's silence as a prelude to aggression. Why else would they avoid us? They argued. They are clearly hiding something. Then came the data, and with it, the fear. Reconnaissance ships sent to monitor human activity returned with troubling findings. Humans were venturing into places the Council had long abandoned, places no species dared to tread. Ancient star systems, shrouded in mystery and peril, had become sites of intense human activity. These forbidden systems, filled with ruins of long-dead civilizations, were deemed too dangerous for exploration by even the most advanced species. Yet humanity not only explored these systems but seemed to be thriving there. They were cataloging artifacts, activating dormant relics, and even tampering with technologies that the Council had banned for fear of triggering catastrophic consequences. The most alarming reports described energy surges in regions where humans had set up operations. These surges, powerful enough to destabilize nearby stars, were unlike anything seen before. Analysis revealed they were linked to the activation of ancient technologies that had remained untouched for millions of years. The chamber descended into chaos. The insectoid Chathra representatives clicked their mandibles in agitation, declaring that humanity's actions could awaken dormant galactic threats. The crystalline Etherians, always cautious, proposed immediate containment measures, yet no consensus could be reached. Fear took hold as the Council realized the implications. Humans were not just ignoring the galactic order, they were bypassing it entirely. They were unlocking secrets that even the galaxy's oldest civilizations had feared to approach. And with every artifact activated, it became clearer that humanity wasn't just advancing, they were changing the rules of the game. The chamber, once a place of unity, now echoed with panic. For the first time in its history, the Council faced a species it could neither understand nor control. Humanity's silence had grown deafening, and the galaxy could only wonder what would come next. Deep in the galactic core, Beyond the reach of thriving civilizations lay the forbidden systems, a region shrouded in mystery and fear. These ancient star systems were the remnants of a forgotten era, filled with the ruins of civilizations that had risen and fallen long before the Galactic Council existed. They were littered with the remnants of superweapons, massive Dyson-like structures, and technologies so advanced they bordered on incomprehensible. The Council had long declared these systems off-limits, warning that tampering with their contents could lead to catastrophic consequences. Yet humanity had ventured boldly into these forbidden zones. The first reports trickling back to the Council were almost too extraordinary to believe. Human ships were seen darting between the dead stars, mapping the uncharted void with clinical precision. They didn't just study the ruins, they dismantled them, extracting artifacts and hauling them back to their colonies. What the Council found most unsettling was that these weren't random scavenging efforts. Humanity was following patterns, decoding ancient scripts, and piecing together a larger picture that no other species had dared to confront. When the Council sent a reconnaissance team to one such system to observe, what they discovered sent shockwaves through the galaxy. On the surface of a lifeless planet, human engineers were dismantling a colossal structure, a planet-sized machine thought to have been inactive for millions of years. The energy readings were staggering. Whatever this artifact was, it had the potential to manipulate gravity on a galactic scale. The humans were not only reverse engineering it, but appeared to be powering it back on. Elsewhere, ruins that had lain dormant for eons began to stir under human hands. Massive defense grids surrounding dead worlds flared to life, their automated systems responding to human input. Planets once considered barren wastelands were being transformed into thriving research stations and industrial hubs. The efficiency with which humanity operated was unnerving. The final piece of the puzzle came when Council researchers intercepted fragments of data encoded within these ruins, messages left behind by the ancient civilizations that had built them. These messages were warnings. Stark and dire, these devices were our undoing. They hold the keys to power beyond reckoning. Use them, and you will summon the darkness. But humanity wasn't heeding the warnings. They were activating the devices, as if unlocking a long-forgotten treasure chest. The Council could no longer dismiss their actions as recklessness. Humanity was deliberately awakening technologies that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy or destroy it entirely. For the first time in millennia, the Galactic Council found itself on the brink of a new reality. A young, enigmatic species had entered the most dangerous region of space and emerged unscathed, wielding powers no one fully understood. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just exploring forbidden knowledge, they were mastering it. The mysterious silence from humanity had already sent ripples of anxiety across the Galactic Council, but the arrival of the void signal turned that unease into outright fear. It began as a faint pulse, detectable only by the most sensitive instruments in the galaxy. Originating from Earth, the signal radiated outward, its reach extending beyond the farthest edges of the Milky Way. At first, the Council assumed it was some sort of test and new communication technology perhaps, or a simple navigational beacon. But the signal's sheer complexity defied simple categorization. Encoded within it were layers of advanced mathematics, multi-dimensional star charts, and cryptic data packets. As the Council's brightest minds worked to decipher its contents, an unsettling realization emerged: the void signal wasn't directed at the Council, nor at any known species or structure in the galaxy. It was aimed at the intergalactic void, an expanse of dark, empty space where nothing should exist. The signal grew stronger over time, its patterns becoming more intricate. It wasn't a random transmission or an experiment. It was a deliberate attempt to communicate with something or someone far beyond the galaxy. The implications sent the Council into a frenzy. Theories spread like wildfire. Some believed humanity had discovered an ancient extragalactic civilization and was reaching out to establish contact. Others feared a darker possibility, that the signal was a summons, calling forth an entity or force that had been lying dormant for eons. The insectoid Shathra proposed it might be an attempt to awaken a forgotten weapon, while the crystalline Etherian speculated it was an effort to access knowledge locked outside the galaxy. The most alarming aspect of the signal, however, was its apparent precision. It wasn't a blind broadcast. The star charts embedded within it outlined a clear target, a cluster of galaxies so distant they could barely be observed from the Milky Way. At the center of this cluster was a colossal structure, one that dwarfed anything humanity had built or discovered. To the Council's horror, it became evident that humanity wasn't simply reaching out into the void. They had found something, and they were trying to activate it. Panic engulfed the Council chambers. For millions of years, the galaxy had existed under the unspoken assumption that it was alone, safe within the vast darkness of space. Now that assumption was shattered. The humans were attempting to bridge a gap no species had ever dared to cross. But why? What could humanity hope to gain from such a reckless act? As the void signal continued to pulse, its purpose remained a terrifying mystery. All the Council knew was that humanity's silence had concealed an ambition far greater than anyone had imagined, and whatever they were calling out to was beginning to respond. The void signal had gone out, and while the Galactic Council panicked, humanity continued its work with eerie, unrelenting precision. Across the galaxy, human colonies expanded like clockwork, their infrastructure growing in complexity. Meanwhile, ancient technologies within the forbidden systems roared back to life under human control, creating massive energy surges detectable across the galaxy. Then came the answer. It began subtly. Council observatories picked up strange distortions at the edges of known space pockets of gravitational anomalies where none had existed before. Stars flickered unnaturally, as though light itself had been tampered with. These phenomena aligned perfectly with the trajectory of the void signal. Something vast and incomprehensible was responding, shifting through the void toward the Milky Way. The first tangible sign came when one of the Council's deep space probes, stationed near the galactic rim, captured a fleeting image. It showed a structure so immense it defied scale, an object moving through the intergalactic void without regard for the laws of physics. It wasn't a fleet, nor was it biological. It was a constructed, impossible assembly of geometric shapes, glowing with energy signatures older than the galaxy itself. Whatever it was coming, and it was coming fast. The Galactic Council spiraled into chaos. Was it a species? A machine? A weapon? Theories flooded the chamber, none offering comfort. The Tyrathians demanded immediate militarization of the Council's fleets, insisting that humanity had awakened something too dangerous to ignore. The Etherians, always cautious, suggested abandoning the Milky Way altogether, retreating to the safety of neighboring galaxies. Meanwhile, humanity remained silent, their ships and colonies continuing their enigmatic expansions. Observers reported that human activity had shifted focus. Massive orbital arrays were being constructed around key systems, their purpose unknown. Entire fleets disappeared into the depths of the forbidden systems, returning with relics and technologies that seemed to accelerate humanity's advancements even further. What truly unsettled the Council was humanity's apparent lack of fear. Any other species would have panicked at the prospect of drawing the attention of an unknown, cosmic-scale entity. Humanity, however, seemed prepared. The energy readings from their newly constructed array suggested that they were amassing power on a scale never seen before. It was as if they were building for a confrontation or an invitation. Then, as the Council scrambled to respond to the incoming threat, the galactic network went dark. Communications flickered, and for a brief moment all data streams were interrupted by a single message. It was simple, chilling, and unmistakably human. Stay out of the way. The Council froze. Humanity's silence had finally been broken, but not in the way anyone had hoped. As the construct from the void continued its approach, the galaxy held its breath. Whatever was coming, humanity was ready. The question now was whether the rest of the galaxy would survive what came next. The construct from the void breached the galactic edge, and the Milky Way seemed to shudder under its presence. It wasn't just vast, it was incomprehensible, a latticework of shifting dimensions and glowing energies. It moved with purpose, yet its form was ever-changing, as though reality itself bent to accommodate its existence. The Galactic Council's fleet scrambled to reposition, their ships dwarfed by the sheer scale of the entity. Across the galaxy, terror spread. Species that had spent millennia under the Council's protection prepared for the worst. Some activated long-dormant defense systems, others fled to distant, uncharted corners of space. The Council itself was paralyzed, caught between the urge to flee and the desire to intervene. But in the face of such a monumental threat, what could they do? Humanity, meanwhile, remained an enigma. As the construct drew closer, the orbital arrays they had been constructing in key systems came online. Gigantic pulses of energy rippled through space, forming an intricate web of power that linked human colonies, research stations, and outposts. To the Council's astonishment, humanity didn't move to defend itself or attempt to communicate with the construct. Instead, they activated the ancient artifacts they had recovered from the forbidden systems. Planets that had been barren wastelands suddenly erupted with activity, their surfaces glowing with alien runes as massive structures rose from the ground. Dyson-like arrays absorbed the energy of nearby stars, funneling unimaginable amounts of power into the human networks. These artifacts weren't just ancient technologies, they were keys to something larger, something older than the galaxy itself. Then, the moment came. The construct stopped just beyond humanity's outermost colonies, its presence casting a shadow across the stars. Energy readings spiked to unprecedented levels, and space itself seemed to ripple in its wake. For a brief, terrifying moment, the galaxy feared the worst. Yet humanity did not attack, nor did they flee. Instead, the construct responded. It emitted a pulse, not of destruction, but of acknowledgement. The signal was incomprehensible to the Council's scientists, but humanity seemed to understand. Their orbital arrays synchronized in a dazzling display of light, sending a final coordinated burst of energy toward the construct. And then, it happened. The construct began to change. It unfolded, revealing an interior of incomprehensible design, vast cities of energy and matter, spiraling infinities that no organic mind could fully grasp. Humanity didn't just beckon the construct, they joined it. Ships left human colonies, merging seamlessly with the construct's body. It was clear now humanity had been preparing not for war, but for ascension. They had unlocked the secrets of the forbidden systems, deciphered the void signal, and called forth a force that could bridge galaxies. The construct turned, no longer advancing but retreating into the void, taking humanity with it. The Council was left in stunned silence, watching as the species they could neither understand nor control left the galaxy behind. Humanity's silence had been their greatest weapon. They had never needed the Council or its diplomacy. Instead, they had looked beyond, to powers and possibilities the rest of the galaxy couldn't even fathom. As the construct disappeared into the dark, the Council realized the truth: humanity hadn't just refused their invitation, they had outgrown it. And the galaxy would never be the same. What do you think, Starlight Travelers? Is humanity destined to unite the galaxy or leave it behind altogether? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, like, share, and subscribe to Starlight Sci for more incredible journeys across the stars. Until next time, keep looking up.